Hello, TBR fans. Welcome to this episode of Talk About Rock. I'm your host, Rob Edwards. Let's check in with my co-host, Gerry Smith, Nashville. Gerry, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you, Rob? Good to see you.
Great. What's happening out there in Nashville?
The big Halloween weekend here. We got plenty of shows going on, starting with our friends tomorrow night, the Naked Gypsy Queens, who we interviewed about 2 months ago. They're playing at the Mockingbird Theater in Franklin. And if you cover bands, we have quite a few of them going on Friday night with the Mixtape 80s tribute band out there at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We got the classic rock cover band Vinyl Radio doing their Halloween show over at 3rd and Lindsley. And we have Contagion bringing their brand of 80s hard rock and heavy metal, along with Alice Unleashed, a tribute to Alice Cooper, going on Friday night at Bowie's. The Hellfest, which is a bunch of hard rock and heavy metal bands playing in Lebanon. We have a Kiss cover band called the Kiss Army back at Hop Springs on Saturday night. And we have a Guns N' Roses tribute called Night Train International over at the Tin Roof for people to celebrate their Halloween festivities.
Oh my God, you got so much going on in Nashville. That's so amazing. That's crazy. Well, we are so lucky to have with us someone else who's currently located out in Nashville. He's originally from Buffalo, New York. You may recall him from the beloved band Talas, or being handpicked to join David Lee Roth's band, or his amazing project with Mr. Big, or his core projects, the Winery Dogs, and also Sons of Apollo. Please welcome to the show the innovative and iconic Mr. Billy Sheehan.
Hi, Billy.
I'll try to live up to that.
How's it going today?
Going great. What a beautiful, perfect day here in Nashville. Just gorgeous outside and crisp blue skies. Just wonderful. This is our October is our 4th year here. And we just really love living here very, very much.
Awesome. We don't get that.
You can't beat October in Nashville. The mercury hit 70 degrees today. He's absolutely right.
Awesome. Yeah, we won't see that here in Buffalo for quite a while. You know what I mean? But that's awesome. That's going on there. That's totally great.
We have a winter, but it's pretty short. You know, usually have like one little snow thingy. But I remember the blizzard of 77 in New York.
Yeah, we all do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to get Rob to come down here, Billy.
Yeah.
Well, what?
I'm trying to get Rob to move down here to Nashville.
Yeah. It's
happening.
Music City. It's quite a great spot. We a lot of great friends I had already here, and then a lot of friends of mine have moved here since too. So it's a great community. And I know a lot of Nashvillians get a little bit annoyed at all these people moving in. And I don't blame them because they don't want things to change too much. So I made it a point to try to contribute to what's here rather than try to give, not take. And so all of my new friends in Nashville have been wonderful relationships.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's the way I felt as well when I first moved down here, that I was going to give and not take, because the issue was pretty sensitive when I first moved down here in 1991.
Wow.
My father worked for the Chevy Tonawanda plant up there in Buffalo and took a job with Saturn Corporation down in Spring Hill.
Wow. Yeah, my stepfather worked for Chevy in Buffalo.
Awesome.
That was a pretty major employer there for a long time.
Sure was. Allied Chemical, Bethlehem Steel, the stamping plant, the Harrison Radiator. There's another one up in the Lockport area. Yeah.
Yep. So as we're going back here, we know we got a lot of new projects going on, but I wanted to kind of get a little timeline going. If we go back for a minute, let's go back to the early days when you guys were, rocking in Talas, playing all over the place. Can you tell us a little about that? I think you guys came from the Tweeds, right?
Yeah, we started out, I came out of high school, we joined a band called Opus One, which with a couple of guys that later became luminaries in the local scene. Bruce Bricado on guitar, Ted Reinhardt on drums, 11-piece horn band. Mike Migliore was the alto player. Went off to become quite famous himself as well. And 3 lead singers, 4 horns, guitar, bass, drums, keyboard. So we did our first gig at the Beef and Ale house. I think I made $7.20 was my take on that gig. So that was while I was still in high school, and then Dave Constantino and I were at the same high school, and he asked to borrow my amp, and I said, well, I was just, it was my pride and joy. I couldn't let people borrow my amps. He goes, you play bass, don't you? And I go, yeah. And so well, would you like to, join the band, the Tweeds? And I knew the band, and they had a hit single years earlier, and they were kind of, they had cooled off quite a bit since then, but they were a pretty famous band in the Buffalo area in the 60s. So I joined them, and we had a good run for a while, then split up. Then Dave and I decided to stay together, and we got Mike Piccolo for the first version of Talas. Now, there's since been about 8 versions of Talas. I'm going to try to do a family tree someday
Right.
on a giant sheet of paper.
Right. Now,
But,
now correct me if I'm wrong. What I heard is that the original name for the band came from a horse. Is that correct?
yeah, somebody had a horse, and I think Dave got on it, and it spooked and jumped over his car, and
Oh, wow.
he jumped off, and he was so scared he threw up. So we thought, perfect. That's a perfect band name for it.
Awesome.
So we had eventually we went through different permutations. The next drummer was our drum roadie, Brian Brothman, just for about a month. And then we got Rocco Oliverio from down in Jamestown area. I forgot the name of the Salamanca. That's it. And then his brother was also a drummer, and they played double drum. So we got him in the band. It was the first 4-piece Talas. And then that kind of fell apart, and we got Paul Varga, the Tweed drummer, back in. And that became the Talas that was, a lot of people look at that as the main version of Talas. And we went on to play a lot and, get a lot of local notoriety. Then things weren't going so well, so they decided to have me leave the band and take the name and start a different Talas. So they hired Mike Marconi and Dale Croston from Whale in Rochester, a great band. And I went off and joined Ron Rocco from Rochester and 2 other guys, and had a band called Light Years. That went on for about a year. Then Dave and Paul called me on my first night of playing in a band called Sheehan with Phil Nero on vocals, Mark Miller on drums, and I forgot who the guitar player was. It might have been Dave Munkoff, who was also in Whale. Incestuous bunch we were. And so they called me on opening night when I was playing at the Caboose in Fredonia and asked me to come back to the band. I said, okay. Because it was a struggle to start a new band. So we went back, and that was the version of Talas that went on to do the very first record, and then sink your teeth into that and do the Van Halen tour.
Yep.
And in about 83, that was getting pretty shaky. They decided to quit and left me holding the bag with the PA lights, sound truck, crew guys, and everything. So I hustled that Sheehan band back together. Mark Miller and Phil Nero, got a guitarist from LA named Mitch Perry, and we went off. We had to replace Mitch at one point and got Johnny Angel in the band. And that was the band that played on the Yngwie tour. And our opening night was Los Angeles in summer of 85. And David Lee Roth came out to the show that night and had arranged to have a meeting with me at his house the day before. And I went out there because he had contacted me earlier about that. So
well, you guys opened for Van Halen on like 30 plus shows I saw, right?
1980, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just the one show, but I was reading it was like 30 plus shows. So Dave must have had his eye on you.
Well, I just found it the other day. A lot of stories people hear, and they can't believe it's possibly true. For example, you too opened up for Talas at stage one, and people didn't believe us for years. They no way. They thought, yeah, I swear to God, they did.
Right.
And then when you 2 years later played Rich Stadium, Bono announced that they had opened. They had a great night because they opened for this band called Talas, and so you could hear all the jaws drop. But
Right.
I just found the. Since we lost that, I've been going over some of my remembrances of his. But I told people, yeah, the last night of the tour, Ed came up to me and said, "Hey, let me give you my number and don't tell Michael." So I was like, "Whoa, holy cow!" Valerie had given him a little card, like a, little. They were in love.
Right.
And he took the card out and ripped a piece off of it, and wrote his number down. And there it is.
Oh, wow.
And it was from the card that she wrote him.
So they were thinking about bringing you into Van
That's
Halen at that
amazing.
time. Is that the case? They were thinking about bringing you maybe into Van Halen. Was that the case?
That was the first indication. And then I went out I called Ed and spoke with him. And I've said recently, what a horrible loss to lose him, because for me, knowing that Ed would take my phone call when we were still slugging it out in Buffalo and going nowhere, that meant a lot to me. And it really helped keep the fire burning in me. So I owe him a great debt for that. What a wonderful, wonderful man. But then I went up to Toronto to see them. And Ed specifically talked to me about joining the band. Then they played in Buffalo. And Dave and Paul and myself went to the show. And we knew the crew guys because we had toured with them, so all of us could kind of get in there and everything. And I remember I'm sitting at the table with Dave Lee Roth, and we're having a ride. And I'm looking over at the other table, and it's Paul and Dave, Talas Dave, sitting with Ed. And they had this look on their face, like they wasn't too happy.
They weren't too happy you guys were talking.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Ed was telling them something, and it looked like some kind of controversy. So later on, Ed said, "Hey, come on to my room. I got to play you some tapes." And up in his room, he said, "What would you do if I asked you to join Van Halen?" And I said, "I'd get on the first plane and be there in 5 minutes."
Right.
We should.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And,
of course.
Wow. And my head is spinning. Oh my God, this is unbelievable.
Right.
So later, like about 10 days after that, every time we drive to the gig, Dave and Paul were pretty upset and pissed off. And finally it blew up, and they said, Ed Van Halen said that if we don't, step up our game, so to speak, I'm paraphrasing, that he's going to steal you away from the band. And then in my mind, I better shut up.
Right.
But I didn't want to say anything about it,
Right.
And it turns out he didn't. He didn't. I called him up after a few months when their tour was over and said, we don't know if we really want to make a change right now. This is just before the 1984 record and everything like that.
Right.
So he said, but I might do a solo record and I'd love to have you on that and blah, blah, blah. So we stayed close and talked a lot.
Yeah.
So it did actually go down.
Because there was a lot of rumblings in the band at that time. Things were real uneasy. I know they weren't real happy with Diver Down. Eddie had voiced his opinions about it. That album, he was not happy. And I know him and Dave were butting heads about a lot of things. And, there were rumors about Dave wanting to do movies and stuff like that and different things, So I know there was a lot of tension definitely going on back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as a fan, that's so heartbreaking. You just see everybody all partying and hanging and jumping around.
And then years later, you hear,
great, huh?
Yeah, years later you hear they really didn't get along so great. It took time to get through that album, but that's how things happen in bands. That's how things happen in families. You know what I mean?
Bands fight, brothers and sisters fight, husbands and wives fight. It happens.
Yeah, and so I wanted some folks to check out. I want to take a quick pause. We have a video from 2000. You guys with Talas playing the first song from the first Talas album, Seesaw. We want to do a quick video on that. And we'll show you
this
that.
Has to be some pretty raw footage here.
No, it's nice footage. So I'm going to pump that in here, and we'll take a look at that, and then we'll be right back with Mr. Billy Sheehan, folks.
Great, sounds good.
Touch ground. Everybody, seesaw, seesaw, oh. Seesaw, seesaw, oh. Yes, I do. And we may say, just like the moment we say that we do. Well, yes, we do. And like a seesaw, we keep going up and down like a seesaw. Never seen the church ground like a seesaw, seesaw, oh. Seesaw, seesaw, oh. I'm a hero, you let me down again. It's the same every day. You bring me up, I let you down again. How long can I stay? Like a seesaw, we keep going up and down. Like a seesaw, never seen the church ground. Like a seesaw, seesaw, oh. Seesaw, seesaw, oh. Seesaw, seesaw, oh. Seesaw, seesaw, oh.
Hello, folks. So we're back talking with Billy Sheehan here on Talking About Rock. We just checked out them playing Seesaw from 2000 when Talas came back to do some songs for us. It was great. And you were telling us about being picked with Dave. And I think what I've heard is, and I saw some stuff, that Dave actually flew you down and had some songs to check out in his basement that he wanted to run by you, right?
One more time. I'm sorry.
Did Dave actually called you up, I think, and flew you out to LA when he wanted to do his solo record, right? He had some songs that he wanted to run by you?
No. He called me up and said he wanted me to be in his movie.
Oh, that's how. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that one. Okay.
It was a weird week because we got 3 calls that week. We got a call from the William Morris Agency. This is the 4-piece house with Phil Narrow singing lead, Mark Miller on drums.
Mm-hmm.
Call from the William Morris Agency. They want to sign us and they want to have us open Yngwie's first American tour.
Right.
Great. Cool. Then we got a record from Danny Goldberg, who was Gold Mountain Records. He later went on to manage Nirvana. Quite an iconic guy in the music biz. That they wanted to sign us. Great record deal. And then the third call was David Lee Roth's office calling saying, Dave would like you to be in the movie. So, when can you have a meeting? And so, well, we happen to be going out to LA because of the other call I mentioned. So we set it up a meeting. and so a funny thing happened. So when I got to LA, I called Ed. I said, Ed, can you come down to our show? We're playing the Palladium opening for Ingve. He goes, oh man, I'm kind of busy. I go, well, all right, okay. Well, thanks anyway. I go, I'm having a meeting with Dave tomorrow. And he goes, you're what? You're what? You're having a meeting with Dave? What's for? He goes,
Uh-oh, you spilled the beans.
Uh-oh.
You spilled the beans.
I've opened my big fat mouth now, but I had to say, I guess he's doing some kind of movie and he wants me to be in it or something. And he goes, well, do me a favor, man. As soon as you're done talking with him, call me up and let me know. I think he's going to pull an Ozzy Osbourne on us. In other words, leave the band, hire like Ozzy left Black Sabbath.
Right.
And so now
you were like caught in the middle of this stuff.
I know. I think, Jesus, I love all those guys. I love them so much. They're, so I got there and Dave goes, well, there is a movie, but that's not what I wanted to talk to you about because you got to promise me it's got to be absolutely secret. You can't tell anybody. No girlfriends, no family, no one can know. I said, okay.
David Lee Roth code of silence. Yeah,
absolutely. And we kept it too. We were good at that. Me, Steve, Greg, and Brett, we honored that all the time. And so I never called Ed back. I felt bad about it, but I had to. If I would have, I would have been blown out of both camps. And so sure enough, as soon as that tour was done, it was July, first week of July. Dave flew me out, and that was it. I was done. We went down I went to his house. We started working on songs. He liked Shy Boy. He wanted to use that, so I said, "Cool, let's do it."
Yeah, that was great that you got Shy Boy in there. And I wanted to ask you quick about Ladies Night in Buffalo. Was that something your take on that, or was it something that kind of just came about?
It just came about because I came home for, I think it might have been, I came home each year for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Then as the years went by, it was only Christmas. And then, because I'd always get snowed in and everything. Plus I've lost a lot of family and not a lot of people left there anymore. But I will be doing the Christmas show December 15th in Buffalo again this year. So we're happy about that. So the original question was, Ladies Night in Buffalo.
Yep.
So when I went home, the first Thanksgiving we had in November, following that July, now we were already rehearsing and getting ready to record the record. And I got home. I got back to LA, and they said, "What did you do for Thanksgiving?" I said, "Oh, I went to Buffalo. I went out one night, and it was Ladies' Night in Buffalo." And everybody laughed because the idea that Buffalo was just blue collar, steel.
Right. We just sit around and watch the cars rust with 6 feet of snow 24/7.
So they thought that was really funny. So that I said it, and then we wrote around it there. So, but we, Steve and Greg and I. We just rehearsed like mad and wrote songs. And every night it was great because we would go. Dave had a garage that was filled with beer left over from the US Festival. Now, Pasadena gets pretty hot, so you can imagine it's been a couple of years in a hot garage.
Probably not so good.
Was long skunk. But we didn't care. We'd sit there with a skunk beer and tell stories. And we had a riot. It was the greatest. On the weekends, we'd go out with Dave and his bodyguard and a little entourage of people. And it was an amazing time.
Yeah.
So.
When that record hit, that was huge. I mean, that really put him on the map. The songs were really great. The videos on MTV really stood out. It had to be a lot of fun making those. It looked like it anyway.
Well, it was a riot. It was me, Steve, and Greg Bissonette and Brett Tuggle get together often, and just to have a dinner, hang out, and tell stories of back in the day and how much fun we had and how great it was. It was mind-blowing. I was driving a 77 Pinto with a donut fake tire on one wheel because I couldn't afford a tire. Left that behind, went to LA, and that evening there were paparazzi shooting me and Dave my first night in LA. So it was kind of an amazing set of events there. Pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, that was.
Well, obviously you saw Greg Bissonette here in Nashville back in August at the Rockin' Pod event.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw him previous to that?
Just a couple weeks earlier, guys. I was in LA writing for Winery Dogs, and we had a night off, so I went. Greg and I went to Steve's house, and we made pizzas and did our usual hang. we had a riot. So, but we're pretty close. All of us, me, Greg, and Steve, Brett too. Brett Tuggle, our keyboard player. It's great to have that kind of a friendship that's been going on for since 1985.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were trying to make it out to Rock and Pod. We're going to definitely do that next time. It kind of crept up on us too fast. We're a newer show, but we're gonna definitely be there next time.
It was a cool event, but I did like 1 or 2 interviews, and they said, "Okay, you're done." I think, well, I could have done like 30 if you wanted me to. But,
right.
It's not far from my house.
Right.
So go home.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we caught you here now tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Excellent. So your next project you moved on to after that was an amazing, outstanding band. Also, Mr. Big, just some amazing folks in that. Eric Martin, Paul Gilbert, amazing stuff. Addicted to That Rush came out, and I think everybody stood up and said, "Wow, holy crap."
Yeah, and sadly yesterday, our original manager, Herbie Herbert, passed away. And
Oh, wow.
without Herbie, there would have been no Mr. Big. He was
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he was the greatest. He put Journey together. He was the guy who said years ago, "Why don't we sell T-shirts at the show with the band's name on them?" Because I went to see Hendrix, there was no merch.
Right. Yeah. I just saw that on your site that he had passed, and I posted that on it. It's such a huge loss for him.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys to do sound systems. Traveled with the band. A founding father of the music biz, and with him as our manager, even as somewhat indifferent Atlantic Records, he pounded them. We got the superstar royalty rate from our second record on, and just incredible tours. We toured with Rush on the Presto tour, again on the Roll of Bones tour, Aerosmith, Bryan Adams, Scorpions. And his best buddy was the biggest promoter in Japan. So he made sure to take great care of us. So we went there. As a result, Mr. Big did incredibly well in Japan. So it was all really hinging on our connection with Herbie Herbert. He was an amazing, amazing man, a brilliant manager, and so artist conscious. He never took any publishing money from us. His commissions were low and reasonable. I think it was Moby Grape, the band. One of the guys was living under an overpass somewhere, and he found him and got the guy, and got him back, got him a place, and helped him out, and helped him. He was always helping musicians that were maybe run of bad luck or something. He was a giving, wonderful, wonderful man, and a good kind of tyrant, but for the artist. Not against the artist. He would fight for us, and so Mr. Big did great. We ended up with the #1 single. Herbie engineered that completely too. He's why it was #1.
Just to be with you.
Yeah.
To be with you.
Yes, sir. And we still, I still get email from people from everywhere, from Madagascar, from Iraq, from you name it, all over the world, and that song means a lot to them. And amazing emails, how much when you put a record out, how it touches people in so many places around the world. They write to me that they were, believe it or not, considering killing themselves, or they had a death in the family or some horrible situation, and Mr. Big Music got them through it.
That's the amazing power of great music, right? That's the amazing power of great music. If songs or lyrics can reach you or help you or make you feel better, that's what it's all about, right?
Oh, it's unreal. And I'm a big fan myself, and music affects me very, very much, more than anything. And I listen to all kinds of stuff, but to be a part of something that does that to someone else that's my pay. I am glad that I have live a decent life with the money I've made out of music. But the real payment, boy, you can't beat that. It's pretty awesome.
That is excellent. So we're going to take a quick break here. We got some video that we're going to. We got some video that we're going to show.
Mr. Big's gotten me through some tough times as well.
Say again?
Song "Lucky for You." CDFF. Lucky this time.
Lucky this time.
Yeah, a very amazing song after having some heartbreak and troubles with a special girl. So
Excellent.
Right on.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to show the little video here we got for Addicted to That Rush. This is Mr. Big. Check it out.
The one and only Billy Sheehan. Every time you touch, I'm addicted to the rush. Look around, I stop and stare. Got to get a taste. Pretty women everywhere. Ain't got time to wait. Looking for a little thing fit into my plans. On the time to hunt you down, I'm walking like a man. She touched me deep inside. Something's out inside my mind. And then I feel it coming. Ain't no sense in running. I'm addicted to that rush. Every time you touch, a woman addicted to the rush. Every time we touch, hey, I never get enough. But I'm addicted to that rush. Takes me deep inside. Something's out inside my mind. Oh, when I feel it coming, ain't no sense in running. Francisco, are you addicted to that rush? Hit me, babe. Once I thought of loving was a habit I could break. When I go without it, my body starts to ache. To the run. Every time we touch, addicted to that rush. Never get it. Say, what you kicks me deep inside. Something's out in summer. When I feel it coming, ain't no time to run. Addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Yes, I am addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Addicted to that rush. Finish line, San Francisco. Thank you. See you.
Hello, welcome back to Talk About Rock, Mr. Billy Sheehan. So, quick question: we were talking about Mr. Big, and actually, a friend of mine lives in Japan. You were talking about that. You guys were huge there, and still have a huge following. How was it playing the Budokan Tokyo Theater out there? That had to be amazing.
Pretty amazing. The Beatles played there. That's pretty cool to play actually, we played in the Star Club in Hamburg also. I think it's in a different place, but it's still the Star Club where the Beatles started. And the Reeperbahn, which is the red light district, basically, in Hamburg. It's pretty wild to walk down the street there. But to play the Budokan was pretty amazing. We've done it, sold it out, I don't know how many times, but a lot. And we're incredibly indebted to Japan and the Japanese people. As prior to Be With You being a hit, they were already on the train there with us. They really went for Mr. Big in a big way. And some bands, everybody thought the cliche, oh, they're going to be big in Japan. They'll be big in Japan. A lot of bands go and play Tokyo or Tokyo, Osaka, or maybe Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya. We played from Sapporo in the north, where they have ice sculpture contests in the winter, to Kagoshima in the south, with an active volcano that our plane had to circle for a while the volcanic dust settled before we could land. And all over East Coast, West Coast, all over Japan. And it was pretty amazing. The people there they watch very closely. And I would always say to people back in the day when there were VCRs, if you want to know how amazingly perfect they are, just unscrew the lid of your VCR and look in there. They did that. It's amazing. So they would sit there and watch us, and it was funny because they knew everything that was going on. And later on, they'd speak, fourth song in, my bass was out of tune, so I had to run and okay, come back. Yeah, oh yeah, on the fourth song, I saw your bass go out of tune. I go, man, most people didn't even notice. Pretty
Busted, yeah.
Things like that are amazing. So we have incredible fans everywhere, and the big in Japan thing gets kind of cliche. Where in fact, in Italy at one point there were 4 Mr. Big copy bands traveling around in Italy.
Really?
In Germany we did amazing. South America is out of control. and the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. I still get more email from from Indonesia than anywhere in the world. And so we're very, very pleased with Japan, but it's not entirely true that that's all there was. We were lucky to play. When you have a hit single, I wish everybody could have one because it's an amazing experience. It took us everywhere. We went all over the place. So and thank goodness, and we're still to this day. Like I said, I get email from people all over.
And it's amazing. It went to #1 to boot, not just
Yeah.
a single, but a #1 hit single. Do you still talk to the guys from Mr. Big? And have you been approached by any of them to join them in a project or play with them again?
Oh, I've done a couple things with Paul Gilbert and Eric and I. We just spoke on the phone last night due to losing Herbie, sadly. But yeah, we're all friends, you know. But we lost Pat, our drummer, and we had a wonderful drummer, Matt Starr, play with us for a tour because we had already booked something. We thought, well, we'll honor it because it's booked, and you know, to pay a little tribute to Pat. Pat could play with us for a while, but he couldn't play drums. So we'd have him on the side, up on the drum riser and sang background vocals. But he was just too exhausted. Parkinson's just wears you out. He's too exhausted to play. And Matt played with him, and it was great to have him along for that. And the crowds were so kind to him and so understanding. But when we finally did lose him, that was Matt did a great job, but we still miss Pat. So it was tough to go on without him. So we decided, well, let's put it aside. Maybe someday we'll play again. Maybe not. Who knows? But we're all good friends, and we're all still close, and we all still communicate, and we're all still very happy to have worked with Pat and known him as a friend. He's one of the sweetest guys in the world, an amazing drummer, and a great husband and father, just a solid citizen. So I'm not sure what we'll do in the future. I'm open to anything, but at this point, there's no plan.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like you're pretty busy with 2 different projects here with the Winery Dogs and the Sons of Apollo. Now, is your recording and your touring going on simultaneously with those 2 bands?
No, I'm off from both. We were out with Sons of Apollo for the new record, 2020. Which turned into a pretty bad year.
Right.
We had toured a bit in the States, and we went to, we were in Germany ready to do a whole European run. And as we're there, we're watching the news, and here it's coming down, and we're thinking, we were about to fly to play in either Russia or the Ukraine. I think it was the Ukraine. And I said to everybody, you know, if they stop letting people into America from Europe, they're not going to put us up at a Four Seasons hotel.
Right, yeah.
And we've got us and crew and everybody that we're going to have to pay out of our pocket. And it's a new band, so we're not, you know, we're still building the band. We're going to pay out of our pocket for hotels and God knows how many flights. And we got a lot of personnel out with us, and we may not get back in for months. You know, and like, geez, what are we going to do? So we all wanted to continue playing, and we had a problem because you can't just cancel a show because you can get sued for it. So, and the promoters hadn't canceled. The promoters can cancel a show if there's a reasonable event happening that's going to cause it. So we had to bite the bullet at that point and say, you know what, let's do it. Let's pull the plug. And sure enough, the promoters right away, for about 5 hours, we're all pissed off. Hour 6, everybody announced, all the promoters said, we can't do it. No shows, no crowds. And then every other band touring in Europe, one by one, they all went home. So we got home. That was March, year before last, in 2020. We had to stop the tour. And it was going great too. People loved the record, so it happened to a lot of people. Unfortunately, it wasn't just us, and sadly, all the other troubles that this whole situation has brought about. But so we've just kind of let it go. And with the Winery Dogs, we wanted to try to set it up for next year. So we're working on a new record. Just got a new song from. Vocal on a song from Richie tonight. Spectacular. What a great singer. And Mike Portnoy and myself went to LA twice, each time for about 10 days, just writing parts and getting together in a room like bands used to do and figuring stuff out and singing and playing and coming up with ideas. So it was quite a great, great time. And it's only three guys, like the old Talas was, so it's generally pretty easy to deal with just three. And
Right.
so that's so. I hopefully there's something booked for Sons of Apollo in January, I think in Brazil, but I don't know yet if that's absolutely confirmed. It may very well be. And we also know from experience, once you confirm a show, as time moves up to it, you got to move it again and then move it again. And so it's a very difficult situation for everybody. Bad enough for the band guys, but our crew and truck drivers, bus drivers, and all that there, it's been tough on so many people. So we're doing what we can to get back to work as quick as possible.
So how do you balance that between the two bands, the Winery Dogs and Sons of Apollo? Where do you find the time to do both projects?
Well, they're usually staggered. None of them are really full time. We play, 12 months a year. We'll go off for like a 3-month run and take a break and go with the Winery Dogs. And well, the good thing is Mike and I are in both bands. So
Right.
if the Winery Dogs go out, Sons of Apollo can't, and vice versa. So
Right.
so with that, but it's everybody's friends, and we're all cool, and we just try to schedule it out. It's no problem.
Cool.
You guys have pretty good chemistry.
Say again.
You guys have pretty good chemistry, obviously. You're
Yeah, very good.
very good friends as well as bandmates, I would imagine.
Yeah, everyone in Sons of Apollo, Jeff Scott Soto, singer, is just one of the sweetest guys in the world, and just one of the easiest lead singers, next to Phil Narrow, one of the easiest lead singers ever. Just a great voice too. Mike Portnoy, of course, and I get along very, very well. I love him very much. And Derek Sherinian, keyboard, fantastic player, and Ron Bumblefoot, just a hilarious guy and genius guitarist. So it's a riot. And then with Winery Dogs, Richie Costin has been a dear friend of mine. He was briefly in Mr. Big for a while when Paul Gilbert quit back in the late 90s or something. And what a talent Richie is, man. He plays, and people will say, yeah, wasn't he the guy from Poison? Yeah, but he was also the guy that replaced Alan Holdsworth in Virtue with Stanley Clark and Lenny White. So that's where he's at.
Right.
That's some lofty company right there.
Definitely.
We've all heard the story about Eddie Trunk getting you guys together for the Winery Dogs. How did the Sons of Apollo come together? How did you guys all get together and become a band?
Well, I had done a PSMS, Portnoy, Sheehan, McAlpine, Sherinian. Though Derek says it's Portnoy, Sherinian, McAlpine, Sheehan. That's a joke. But we went and did a tour. Did some Tony McAlpine songs. I've never Dream Theater fan, not for any other reason that there's only 24 hours in a day and so many bands I can get into. Plus a lot of the modern prog. I'm an old school King Crimson, Genesis. The new stuff, it doesn't touch me the way the old stuff did. Sorry, that's just me. I'm old, so
we're all guys of the 70s.
Yep.
Exactly.
We all grew up in the 70s.
Yeah. But
Right.
I really like Dream Theater. I love what he does in that band. It's
it doesn't happen to be my thing, but it's great stuff, and
Yep.
they're supremely talented. So Mike and I started doing stuff long ago. I think we did a Rush tribute record one time, and then we did a tour with myself, Paul Gilbert, Gerry Sharon, and Mike, and we did a Who tribute. That was great. That was a riot. Paul dressed like Pete Townsend, played an SG, and I had hurt my back, so I had to kind of stand there stiff, and they go, wow, Sheehan's doing that whistle perfect. That's a good move. It was funny. So we, from that, we were going to continue, maybe get a lead singer and do something like that. But Tony's an amazing player. He's more of a fusion and jazzy player. They wanted to get something that's a little bit more rock. So Ron had played with Guns N' Roses for a long, long time. He was freshly out of that, so he came and joined us. I love Tony. I still will play with him anytime, anywhere, anyhow. What a genius talent he is. So that's how Sons of Apollo came to be. And we put our first record together and did great with it. and like I told the story of the second record just now too. So, but it's all good.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
the Sons of Apollo was pretty well received here in the United States.
Yeah, we did great business everywhere. Everywhere we went was packed, and people were. I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful. People have been just really incredibly kind to a lot of my bands, from Talas, version 1 through 8, and the Eat 'em and Smile, Mr. Big, even Niacin, a band I had with Dennis Chambers on drums, Hammond B3 player. People were just been very, very generous to me, I believe.
Awesome. Awesome.
Would you say the Sons of Apollo are the most progressive rock band that you played with in his career?
Other than Niacin was pretty intense, and plus Steve Vai. I did a couple tours with Steve, his solo tours, and there was a lot of complicated stuff there.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right.
Well,
So let's
Bob wants to run another video here.
let's take a quick break and let's check out this music here from Sons of Apollo. This is Coming Home.
Before we say goodnight, we're gonna dedicate this song to Mr. Sherinian, because tonight it's like he is coming home.
of course, the one and only Mr. Mike Portnoy on the drums. My name is Jeff Scott Soto. We are Sons of Apollo. Thank you, Weathers.
Okay, we're back talking about rock with Mr. Billy Sheehan.
Hello. Again.
So
Awesome.
how big is commercial success to you, Billy? Is it more about the love of the music? Or, I mean, certainly you had the #1 single, but really was that your goal? Was that important to you?
Success, yeah. And even from the early days, I mean, I'd rather play for free in front of 10,000 people than play in front of 10 people for $10,000. I mean, I love to play and perform. Never been money motivated, much to my wife's chagrin there. She wishes I was a little more money motivated. But we've been lucky to be in situations where I made excellent money and had some success. But for me, I was focused early on that bass playing all the time. And today I practice all day. I'm out feeding the chipmunks peanuts while I'm playing. And it's really, I never considered that I had any natural talent at all, but I had a burning desire to get that thing to work and get those notes out of that bass somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm a good troubleshooter. So if I hear a string of notes go by, they got to be on that fretboard somewhere. So I got to find them and figure out how to get to them in a timely manner. And so that in the end led to me being in a position where I could play, perform in a band. But I was never really money motivated or fame motivated. People bristle with me. Oh, so you're a rock star? And I go, no, I'm a musician.
Right. Yep. And you are so innovative. You've taken basses and you've done such amazing things and different things. You know, you've shaved down, the pickups and you scalped the frets and so many different customizations, things like that. Have you thinking about maybe doing your own line of basses or something like that? I mean, you've got into that so much.
I have a Yamaha Attitude basses. They had a 30-year anniversary.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we, as a matter of fact, on the wall there, that's the original P bass that I had from Buffalo.
Right.
All those years. And and then its sister is behind her. She's not very well known, but that was my backup bass we had on the truck in case something happened. But behind that is the Yamaha 30-year anniversary of the Attitude bass, and they did it in the same color scheme as my original P bass. So it looks very much like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it plays like a dream. It's an amazing instrument. Yamaha has been very, very kind to me. They've made my basses now I started with them actually in '84, but the bass came out, I think, in 1989 or 90. They did the Attitude bass, hence the 30-year anniversary last year. And but they've been a great company to deal with. They've been very kind to me, and the basses are amazing. So
awesome. So
So
I
we
know
are
you guys.
so-
When can we expect the album to be released by the Winery Dogs?
when it's done.
Okay.
There's no way. It happens a lot where people, that's why sometimes we hesitate to even announce or tell anyone that we're even working on a record, because, hey, we're getting together and we've all in LA at Richie's house writing for a new record. When's it coming out? We haven't even written the first song yet, so so sometimes we hesitate to say anything because I said something about the new Talas record, which is finally done. I'm very happy to say, and we don't know when it's coming out. That's up to the record label and all. But it's hard to tell. We just want to, and sometimes you get pressure from a record label to have to get it out by a deadline, and it always ruins everything.
Right.
You got to rush the cover. You got to rush the mastering. The last Mr. Big record we did, Defying Gravity, I think it was the name of it. But they had a problem with the mastering, but we had to have it delivered at the right time. And I'm sitting listening to the mixes going, man, it sounds great. Kevin Olson, our original mixer, is back at the helm and fantastic. Then we heard the CD and go, what the heck happened? You know, so and that's all because you got to do it. We got a deadline. We got to have it. No, so we every band that I'm in now, we will not. We're not going to put any deadlines on it because it's just it ends up rushing it at the end and it makes it terrible. So hopefully we'll get done ASAP.
Well, we both really love the stuff you're doing with Winery Dogs and the stuff you're doing with Sons of Apollo. It's some great stuff. I lean more a little bit to the Sons of Apollo. It's a little more harder edge, a little more progressive, but both of it sounds great.
Oh, no doubt about it. I know our mutual friend.
Go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to say, Billy, our mutual friend Tyson Leslie has been over to your house.
Yeah.
In your bass room there.
Yeah.
Are you going to be playing with Rare Hair in December and joining Tyson Leslie's cast of
What's the date?
characters?
What's the date? Do you know?
Gosh. Well, I could tell you, but it might take me a minute to find it. It's right before Christmas sometime, I believe.
I hope it's not on the 15th because that's the Buffalo.
Yep, he'll be in Buffalo December 15th with the Musicians of Buffalo with Jesse Galante and Bobby Liebel and
Yeah,
Jimmy Green will be guesting on that show. Yeah,
we got a
I can't wait
Christmas
to see
record
it.
coming out. We did a Christmas record of the songs we're doing at the show.
Awesome.
And,
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'll be there at the show for sure. Yep.
Great.
Here it is, Billy. It's Rare Hair 12. They're up to number 12 now. And it's on Monday, December 20th at the Basement East.
Woohoo! I'm in. Good.
So-
I'll be home by then.
Awesome.
That'll be cool. But this being a Buffalo-oriented show, we finished the new Talas record. Phil sang the record. It was difficult for him, but he got through it and did an amazing job. Sadly, we lost him right after we finished recording. And we dedicated this record to him and his life and his talent. And it was mixed in Toronto, Canada. And we're very, very excited about it. Sounds great. It's myself, Mark Miller, Phil Narrow singing. Mitch Perry came in and played on the two songs that he brought into Talas, Crystal Clear and On the Take. And another gentleman named Gerry from Rochester has been doing the guitar stuff for our shows as well. So it's bittersweet to do a new Talas record. Quite awesome, but losing Phil was just a utter catastrophe. So we hope this record honors his legacy.
Yeah, that's excellent. We've had so many people comment about Phil, about his passing and stuff like that. And then we heard that there was going to be a new Talas. We are so excited that a new album was going to be coming out, and to dedicate that to him, that is outstanding.
Yeah, we had his son joined him on some harmonies too, which is quite nice, James, and up in Toronto. So we had his son's voice on there also. He's quite a great singer himself. So yeah, tough. We've lost a lot of people, from Ed Van Halen and Herbie Herbert, and now Phil recently too. We're at the times of our lives where those that came before us or our peers, it's tough to maintain your health, unfortunately. But so hopefully you guys and all your listeners remain as healthy as possible, and we can all be together in many more shows to come.
Definitely.
Oh, December 20th for sure in Nashville, and December 15th in Buffalo, right?
That's right. I'm looking forward to both.
Yeah, and we so hope to see you, touring with the Winery Dogs, touring with Sons of Apollo. We'll be checking your website to see when there's touring dates released and stuff. We can't wait to see that stuff too. That'll be great.
Yeah, I always post everything, and people are always surprised that I respond and answer. And it's a massive job, but I like to. If people are kind enough to take the time and write or say something, I want to acknowledge them. And I'm lucky to have unbelievable friends all over the world that I hear from all my years of touring and stuff. So that is me on social media. People, is it really you? Or yeah. Now, sometimes they'll ask me a question to test me, and of course I usually can come up with the right answer, but yeah, social media is awful and hateful as it is sometimes, there really is some great things about it to really stay in touch with friends and acquaintances from back in the day, back from playing the Barrelhead and He and She's and After Dark and Lockport and McVan's and all the places in Rochester, Penny Arcade. I hear from people all the time. It's quite awesome.
Well, my sister used to sneak in to see you with a fake license. It was actually my cousin Sue's license that she used. She was 16 years old, and she told us a story the other day that she used to sneak in and see you before
Great.
it was legal to drink. She loved you so much. She was all about the rock and roll, and she's 4 years older than me, and she's inspired me to love rock and roll just as much.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, Talas probably was responsible for a booming business in the fake ID
Back in the day, right? Yep, exactly. Exactly.
We should get a little plaque from them or something,
Right. Well, we so appreciate you taking the time, and being able to get a hold of you and stuff and stopping in and chatting with us. It's been amazing. We're so honored and so glad to have you with us. So many folks have been, chomping at the bit. We've kept it on the down low, and I just released it today that we'd be speaking to you, and we are so appreciative.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I want to circle back with one last question.
Yes, sir.
What happened to the David Lee Roth band? I thought that was the baddest band on the planet, and you guys only lasted 2 albums. I guess did egos or differences get in the way? Was it specifically David Lee Roth or?
No, it's, he took a different direction. He went in a different direction on Skyscraper, and it wasn't my thing. It wasn't my thing. Bass plugged in direct, no amps. Everybody would be one at a time in a studio with no one else there. Eat 'em and Smile, we wrote it in Dave's basement. We were all together in the room at Fantasy Studios in Berkeley, California, or the Record Plant in New York City, all together, playing together, doing our thing. It was real, it was fun. We were on tour, we were having a blast. We all hung out. Skyscraper, things were different. And Dave took a chance and tried to do a stylistic change. If it would have worked, he would have been the genius of the decade. But unfortunately, stuff was more synth and dance oriented, and a lot of people. I remember when I first heard Jump and heard the synthesizer, I thought, what? What's going on? Later on, of course, I loved the song, and of course, it grew on me, and it was wonderful. But that can happen. So I'm just assuming that may have happened when people heard Skyscraper, and so I went off on my own and did Mr. Big, and I did the kind of records that I wanted to do. Playing similar to how I did in Talas with, some great vocals, everybody singing, and that all real, no backing tracks, no synth stuff or anything like that. So, but I love Dave, and he was one of my biggest, the greatest things that ever happened to me. And
he's an amazing performer on his own. I think
unbelievable.
He's going to do some awesome things with his Vegas shows. I think that'll be amazing. But I know what you're saying, back to the old school type of rock and roll, everybody in a room doing the recording, bouncing off ideas. It feels more real, as a band, as a family doing that.
And he gave me my biggest break ever. And he was, I still love him and still respect him. And I wish him nothing but the absolute best with his retirement and all. And he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's a very smart man, and working with him was like showbiz 101. I got a PhD, and it was really helpful for me later on in Mr. Big and everything else I did since then. So the legacy of what I learned from that man has been nothing but a positive thing. So it was. Sometimes things that burn bright burn out faster. And Eat 'em and Smile.
Right.
That was that.
Yeah, certainly Eat 'em and Smile was a superior album to Skyscraper, in my opinion, and I think everybody else would agree.
Yeah, I think so too. I see some online forums, and you see it starts to split, and then you see by the end it's usually 80-20 for Eat 'em and Smile or more. And but it's that'll be another chapter in the book, I guess. People keep goading me to write a book, but I say some of the people that are going to be in it, I got to. Unfortunately, they're still alive, so I got to wait.
You got to wait a little while. Right. I totally understand.
So Billy, what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Oh, I don't know. I just I'm coming up on about. I think I may have gone past the 5,000 gig mark, and over 50 years of playing. And I don't know. I just hope people have enjoyed what I've done. I hope it's given them some entertainment and some enjoyment at the shows. And it's I'm grateful for everything. I'm a very lucky guy, and I don't forget it for a minute. Everything I own, my car, my house, my retirement fund, everything came from somebody buying a T-shirt, a ticket, or a record, and I never forget that. So it's very, very important to me. It's soon. I have a. I'm not sure if I can be able to do this yet. We're still working on it, but I have a huge collection of all stuff that I had, all the stuff I wore on the Eat 'Em and Smile tour, and all the clothes and posters and backstage passes and all kinds of stuff that I have in my archives. And I realized that, what's the sense of hanging on to all that? So I think what I'll do is find a worthy charity and auction it all off and have all the money go to something that is helpful. Right now, we're looking at a company that outfits law enforcement officers with bulletproof vests for their safety. And I think so. That's what I'm gonna do. Auction everything off. Sign it all, clear it all out, because it means a lot to a lot of people.
Right.
To have it, and I'm going to try and I hope it doesn't sell for too much money, because I don't want people to go broke buying stuff. But I do want the money. I don't want the money. I want to give it away. I want to give it to something a cause I believe in, and protecting law enforcement officers. I think is a good idea. So that's going to be so. Hopefully that'll be a part of a good thing of some of the things I've tried to do in my life, and try to help people as best I can.
Yeah,
That's what we love about you. I could see you doing that.
Yep, that's definitely outstanding. Definitely, to do something like that. And we so much appreciate, all the music you've brought us, the entertainment, the wowing us with your bass solos, the amazing stuff you've done on stage and videos, the scaring the other bass players. That's definitely what you did when you came out. You know what I mean? And you continue to do that. You've been
You're
quoted.
very kind. You're very kind.
You've been quoted by your other bandmates as saying, when you walked in the room, I just met the god of bass players. I think Eric Martin said that. But yeah, we're so happy, the stuff you've done. We hope to see more from you, as things keep going on. It's really been awesome. It's been great.
That's very, very kind. Thanks to both of you for having me on and your kind words. I'm looking forward to coming back. The show we have on the 15th in Buffalo is going to be great. It's got a full horn section and a lot of guests coming up. We're trying to get as many local Buffalo musicians up there with us as that want to play. They're all welcome in general, but I think we're filled up for this year. So jump in so you can get on the next show if you want to join us. We'd love to have that. And then I'll come back here to Nashville on the 20th and play with Tyson.
Awesome.
That'll be a blast.
Awesome. When you come to Buffalo, I might have to stop by and bug you for a second and say hello. But that sounds amazing.
Same
Sure
here
thing.
at the Basement East.
Just bring some Bocce's pizza with you. A good friend of mine from the old days, he's a bass player. John Schmidt is his name. He's a nice guy, and he used to work with Talas. And he asked me about I have a pickup I designed with DiMarzio for basses, the Relentless pickup. He asked me about it, so I sent him one, just as for old time's sake. And he sent me the half-baked Bocce's pizza that showed up on my doorstep.
Oh my gosh.
They ship it to all over the country. And it was the middle of the week, and so there's a huge pizza. So my wife and I, we got some great neighbors there. Hey, you guys want to come over and try the best pizza in the world? So we did it in the oven, and it was fantastic. It was really great. So but I guess they don't ship Mighty Taco.
No, they do ship Mighty Taco. They do ship Mighty
amazing.
Taco now. Yeah, so if you want some, just ping me. They freeze it now, and I'll send it out to you.
That's
You got it.
amazing.
Yep.
We live in the future. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah. You need some food from Buffalo. Feel free to reach out. No problem.
We may
What
not have
else?
we may not have flying cars, but we can deliver pizza halfway across the country.
Exactly.
What else do you need? Some Salem's hot dogs and
Right.
Logan
Oh
Berry?
yeah.
There you
You
go.
guys hit to Glazier's hot dogs? Glazier's?
No, I never had those.
It
Never
might
had-
be-
I always get
awesome.
the Salem's hot dogs. I have to bring out to my sister in Vegas.
Yeah, I
And
remember
then
them.
when she comes here, she has to have the fish and the beef on whack and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
beef on
Right.
whack. I
yeah,
remember Pat's hot dog stand on Parker and Sheridan Drive. That was a place I went to a lot. And there was also a place right near the Peace Bridge, little tiny shack for amazing hot dogs, incredible. So yeah, Buffalo. I always tell people we had black folks, Jewish folks, Irish, Polish, German, Italian,
Sicilian
all
right
mixed-
here.
all mixed together. And so the food was amazing.
yeah, Yeah,
Quite a legacy of food there in Buffalo.
yeah. We don't have
We're
a lot, but we
starting-
have great food. Yeah, we have great food.
Starting to get a melting pot here in Nashville now with people from Pittsburgh, Chicago, Los Angeles, Detroit, all over the place.
Oh, great.
Definitely.
I don't think the pizza's caught up with it yet like it is in Buffalo.
No,
No,
you know, I
not
don't-
quite, not quite. Or the Mexican food. Coming from LA, there Mexican food. It's hard to get Mexican outside of the Southwest or Texas. It's good, but there's a place in LA called Poquito Mas. It was the most mind-blowingly incredible tasting flavors of Mexican food I've ever had, and I've been in Mexico many, many times. So I'm trying to talk them into opening up one here in Nashville. So
Nice.
because every musician, when they go to LA to rehearse, is right near Poquito Mas, a mate's rehearsal where everybody goes. And so everybody gets turned on and they all love it. And everybody, when they go to LA, the first thing they do, my buddy Ray Lugier, he plays drums with Korn, he was in LA, and he showed, of course, he went to Poquito Mas and took a photo of it. That got me all jealous because it's just the best Mexican anywhere. So we're going to try and get them down here in Nashville. See if we
Is
can.
that something you might like to do?
Well,
Operate a franchise or?
I don't. That's out of my area of expertise.
Yeah.
You know all that money that I made with the music all those years. That's how you lose it. Open a restaurant.
right? Oh, well, if you need some stuff from Buffalo Food, feel free to ping us here. We'll definitely
Thank
try to
you.
send it out to you. And
Very kind.
And once again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time speaking with
pleasure.
us. I know you're a busy guy. You got stuff going on. Winery Dogs, Sons of Apollo. Check these guys out. Amazing stuff happening here.
And the new Talas record.
And the new Talas record with Phil Gnarl singing on it. We can't wait for that stuff in Buffalo. Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us, Billy. We really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you both.
if you folks want to know more about our show or you have comments, please feel free to email us at talkingboutrock@gmail.com. Please like us on Facebook and check out our videos on YouTube. Billy, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Pleasure's
so much,
mine.
Billy.
Thank you, gentlemen.